Hey, y'all. Hey, my name is Annette, and I want to welcome you to Word on the Curve podcast. Today is a little random because I'm back at being single, and I wanted to have this conversation for a number of reasons. The first of which is I want to welcome you back. Thank you for joining us. You can see us live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, and now Sirius Radio. You can hear us. And I want you to know that I have phenomenal producers, Frank and Christina Sasso from New Pod City. That's right here in the capital city. Of course, you know I am in the locker room, the Black Girls Locker Room, where we podcast live. So thank you for joining us. I'd like to welcome all women. This is Women's History Month and the men as well. And I want to invite you to make comments and or excuse me, ask questions in the comments section. I need you to hydrate, drink water, eat fruit, moisturize your face, hands, and feet, and mind your business. And this is especially important because hydration and moisturizer work well together. And so I am happy to be here with you tonight. And I'd like to invite you to share with your other friends. If you cannot watch us live now, you can also watch us later. The podcast is always available to you. That's the point. To all the women all over the world, I'd like to say happy Women's History Month. Women's History Month is actually 365, 24/7. So, welcome to the Black Girls Locker Room, where we broadcast live. To all small business owners, last night, the African American Alliance, which includes many folks across the state of New Jersey, hosted a Women's History Appreciation and or Recognition Night last night. We had some phenomenal speakers. Janine LaRue was a moderator, as was yours truly, Annette Latigue. And I'd like to tell you that we had a good time last night. Thank you, John Bailey. Thank you, Sam Frisbee. Thank you, Doug Palmer. Thank you, Janine LaRue. And kudos to John Harmon, a part of the initiative and the alliance. Thank you guys for recognizing that women don't only make the difference, they are the difference. Welcome. So wherever you are, stand up for a woman everywhere. Whenever you get the chance, stand up for her. She does make the difference. So welcome to our podcast tonight. And we're talking about me and living single. So I've had this conversation before, and I have a series of discussions which have one, two, and three parts. Last week was Is Love Blind? We'll continue that series. The week before that had to do with living single. And we also talk about a number of things. Word on the Curve podcast is engaging, interesting, and live. So thank you for being here tonight. I'm not going to keep you long. I have another commitment, but I want to share with you that living single is okay. And one of the reasons, this is my experience, strength, and hope. What doesn't apply, please let it fly. Living single is about not being in a relationship and not compromising yourself. I'm living single. It's a conscious decision. And I want you to know that there are benefits to being single. And a lot of people don't know and or understand that. Some of the benefits to being single is that you get to examine yourself and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. It also gives you an opportunity to unpack all of that excess baggage, and that excess baggage typically has to do with past relationships and the trauma and drama associated with them, and their past because there was drama and trauma. So I want you to remember that. But I also want you to remember this: being single, and I spoke about this many times. There's TikToks, there's YouTubes, there's Facebook. Being single is not a disease. It is an opportunity to figure out who you are, where you are, and what you want to do. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid, whether you're a man or a woman, to live your single life, because you're single for a reason. That's right. Because if most people had the opportunity and it was good, they'd be in a relationship. You do understand that. We were not meant to be alone, but we were also not meant to live in chaos and trauma. Remember that before you remember anything else. We're not we're not meant to live in chaos and trauma. And so living single is not about being lonely. It is about, drum roll please, it is about living in your purpose. That's the word on the curve. That's what people are talking about. So many folks are single and they think there's something wrong with them or it, you know, being single. There's nothing wrong with being single. Being single is actually an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to get to know who you are. It is an opportunity to understand where you were, where you are, and where you want to be. Don't miss that opportunity. Don't confuse being single with being lonely. It's not the same thing. Don't confuse being single with being unhappy. Mm-mm. There are many people in relationships pretending to be happy who are actually very unhappy. And there's nothing worse than being in a relationship where you're actually alone in that relationship and you're pretending that everything is okay. So, my message to you tonight is short and it's simple. We're not going to be here long. Being single or living single is, in fact, an opportunity. And if you'll look at it as such, instead of looking at it as, I'm single, I'm alone, I'm lonely, people don't accept me, people don't need to accept you. You have to accept yourself. And I know because I am consciously and intentionally living single. Because here's what I won't do: I won't be in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. I have that option just like everybody else. I choose not to do it. I won't be in a relationship just because it looks good, it feels good, or it sounds good. The only way I'm going to be in a relationship is if I have a partner who's intentional, who knows what they want, they know where they've been, they know where they are, and they know where they're going. And they are prepared to lead in love and in partnership. That's the only way I'm going to be in a relationship. And for those of you who think otherwise, I told you in the beginning, what doesn't apply, let it fly. I don't know everything. I'm sharing my experience, strength, and hope because that's actually all I have. My experience, strength, and hope. The same applies to you. If you think you're smarter than everybody else, here's what I want you to remember. If you think you know more than everybody else, here's what I want you to remember. If you think you're smarter than people you associate with or people you see, hear, and engage with on social media, you've already missed the message, because I want you to remember that you only know what you know. And of course, that's not everything. Remember that. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. What I know for sure is my experience, strength, and hope. Share some of yours. And please remember that being single is not a disease, it is an opportunity. I'm going to keep coming back with living single, because that's how I'm living. And I'm living happily single. And solidarity wins. Solidarity not only wins in groups, in businesses, in employment, in social activism, or social activity, but it also wins in what you believe, think, and feel about you and where you are and what you're doing. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, and stop looking at those relationships that look great, because here's what I know, right? This is the time. Here's what I know. Everything that you see on social media is not actually what it is. Yeah, so believe that and know that, and protect yourself. Protect yourself, and always engage you first, because word on the curb is we tend to engage others. We tend to think about what others think. We tend to deal with what we see on social media and accept it all as reality. It's not. I want you guys to have a great evening, and I want you to know that living single is an opportunity. It's not loneliness, and it doesn't have anything to do with anybody else except where you are in the moment. There are a lot of single people out here today, and they can't figure out like what's wrong. There's nothing wrong. The pool is polluted. Remember that. It's polluted with men and women. It's not just men, it's not just women. The pool is polluted. And what makes it polluted is that so many others don't have standards and or respect for what real, concrete, long-lasting, committed relationships require. Sit on that for a minute. I'll be back next week, and we'll be doing with part 2. Is love blind? Is it? You know the answer to that. Have a good evening. My name is Annette. I want to thank you for joining me here at Word on the Curb. I want to again shout out my producers, Christina and Frank Sasso. And I want to thank all of my listeners for jumping in now and or later and asking questions. I want you to know that what you see on Facebook is not always what it is, including the number of people who watch our podcast, not just mine, but many others. Check it out. We're live, and we're bringing you Word on the Curb. Have a good night.